All right, folks, thanks for coming. Kasey, welcome. Lefty, welcome. Auto Club Speedway is proud to support Lefty, his kids club of 150,000 kids, and all of Lefty's educational efforts, including Lefty's Reading Challenge, which this year included 240 schools from 4 counties, reaching more than 135,000 kids. Today, I'm happy to introduce Lefty, and more importantly, our new Auto Club Speedway Kids Club President, Kasey Kahne. Kasey, thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's good to be here in California, and get to race at this racetrack. It's always a track that I really enjoy. Over the years, first practice didn't go very well for us, but we have a lot of time to hopefully get better as the weekend goes here. I've seen Lefty before, but I met him a little bit, I guess, 2 weeks ago when I was out here, and we did a deal in close to the track with some kids, and actually got to learn how to play the guitar, which was really cool. Lefty was there. It was a great band. They're coming tomorrow as well. But to be part of this, to be part of the president, and see the kids here, and see how many people that touches 134,000?
135,000.
35,000 this year is really neat. It's unbelievable, and it's great to see that, and to see kids being into racing and also just into education in general, and to be part of that is feels good.
If you notice the board over here, it says "Come join Kasey Kahne for Driver Story Time Sunday, March 18th, 9:15 out in the fan zone." Surely you read to your son Tanner. So are you nervous?
I'm not nervous. No, I actually like reading to kids. I've done it before at schools and things over the years, and then also Tanner, he has an airplane book that we pretty much read every night, and we read it like 5 times every night. So that's kind of fun, and it's his favorite book that we have. So yeah, I actually like reading with kids, and hopefully them enjoying it as well. But yeah, me doing it is fun.
Awesome. Lefty, how excited are you to have Kasey as your president?
Very excited.
All right, we have a group of kids here who are part of the Shell Fuel for Success program. You can probably pick them out with their stars on their shirts. What sort of encouragement would you give the kids that dream of racing, Kasey?
Well, I think racing is like a lot of things that you dream of. Growing up as a kid, I know myself, it was all I ever dreamed of was racing cars and being able to race for a living. But I think if it's your passion, if it's something that you really want, just putting that time and effort in, whether it's getting to actually do it or just learn about it and watch it. I was from Seattle area, so there wasn't as much racing there, so I watched racing on TV all the time and just tried to learn all the little things that I possibly could, ask questions to my dad and other people that were involved in racing. And so I think it's the same with racing. It's the same with so many things out there that younger kids want to do and want to be part of, is just having that passion and then really working hard to understand it and be part of it.
Awesome. So I think we have a couple questions from the audience. Michaela?
Hi, I'm Michaela Sanford from Smith Tech Academy. I am in the 6th grade. My question to you is, what started your passion for racing?
Mine started when I was pretty little the first time I went to a dirt track, and that's the kind of the racing that I started in. And my dad worked on dirt cars, and sorry about that. Shut that off. My dad worked on dirt cars, and we had a local dirt track a couple hours from our house. So I would see him working on them and then go to the racetrack and sit in the grandstands with my mom and watch. And basically my passion for it started growing at that point in time. And I think the competition and just seeing, everybody racing for first and things like that really got me intrigued. And then I also had some friends that I met at the racetrack that did it, go-karts and things. So, I just really started building it when I was probably 4 or 5 years old. And I started racing when I was 14. I talked my parents into it. I started when I was 14 and have raced ever since. So, started by watching and trying to learn, and also watching on TV, watching NASCAR and Indy cars. They had sprint cars on TV back then also.
Awesome. I think the young man behind you has a question too.
Hi, I'm Jordan from Smith Tech Academy. I'm in 6th grade. My question to you is racing something that you would encourage your son to do?
If he wants to, I think for myself it's worked out really well, and I've enjoyed it. But there's definitely a lot of ups, and there's a ton of downs as well in racing. And like just thinking of my son right now, like you don't want to see him go through downs, but that's part of life. It's part of learning. So if he wants to race, I feel like I can, really give him good direction and help him a lot, get started and just kind of see where he goes with it. Right now he likes racing. He's 2, so he likes a lot of things. Racing's one of them. Airplanes is really on the top of his list at this point in time. But yeah, if he wants to, I'll help him with that. But definitely not going to make him or push him in that direction unless that's what he really wants. Good questions, guys.
Awesome. Anybody else have any questions for Kasey while he's here? No? Okay, Kasey.
This guy over here.
Oh, here's one. Chris?
Chris Knight, catchruns.com. Kasey, can you talk about your tenure at Levine Family Racing? Are you content with the way the direction the team's going and what's your outlook on Sunday's race?
I think there's a lot to be learned at this point. We're learning a lot. This practice today was we didn't get anything out of it all just because of situations that we were in and situations we put ourselves in. So definitely learning from it. I think as a team we all have to keep learning if we want to get better, and hopefully soon we'll start making those strides. But at this point we still have a good ways to go before it's before it's anywhere near what any of us want it to be.
Wolfgang?
Kasey, you joined Hendrick to Levine Family Racing for this year. Did you bring any new expertise concerning engineering and how to work from Hendrick to Levine? Did they do things now totally different than last year or 2 years ago?
I think things change so much so quickly. The little bit that I know doesn't really do a whole lot for you. I mean, I feel like I bring experience and expertise from driving and being in certain situations throughout the years, with the way maybe our schedule's laid out and the way that our races play out a lot of times. So I can, help in some of those areas. But as far as the engineering side, that's, we work with RCR a good bit, and I think it's probably best just to stay on that path, with what that working relationship is at this point. Like I said, I don't know enough about what Hendrick would have or did or should have done or anything over the years. I just drove the car and learned as much as I could when I was doing that.
Last question, Mike.
Mike Hember, USA Today. If we flip ahead to next week, what are the particular challenges at Martinsville for you? You've had some good runs there, but haven't been able to break through.
Yeah, Martinsville's great. It was my toughest track the first couple years of my Cup career, and then I started enjoying it and figuring it out a little bit, and I really like that place because of the braking, the straight line braking, the coasting, getting your car to turn, off the throttle and on the throttle without wearing your rear tires off. So it's a really a tricky, challenging place. There's some really challenging areas to that track, and it seems like when guys figure it out, they really can go on runs for a good period of time, like Jeff Gordon has done, and Jimmy, Denny Hamlin, I think Keselowski and Logano for a bit there too. So it'll be much different than anything we've done. I think it'll be nice to be on a shorter track and be close to home again. I think this stretch is a tough stretch for everybody, and for our deal, I feel like it's probably even a little tougher just because we're trying to get started and we've been behind from the start of the year. So I think it even makes it a little tougher. So I think it'll be nice to go to Martinsville close and then have a week off, work hard on our stuff, prepare more, and get ready for Texas, Bristol from there.
Thank you, Kasey. Congratulations. Lefty, congratulations. Yeah. Stay put, Kasey. I'm going to get all the kids up here real quick and get a quick photo. You can sit there if you want.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are joined now by Eric Jones, driver of the number 20 SiriusXM Toyota. Eric, to start off, last year was your first Monster Energy Series start here at Auto Club. How are you planning to approach the race this year differently than you did last season?
I think for me, every weekend's a little bit different approach, but especially coming to Auto Club, I feel like last year just gives you a lot of notes to lean back on. It's so tough here. There's so many choices, obviously, in line around here that for qualifying trim, it makes a huge difference in kind of where you're placing your car and some of the things you do from the seat, from brake and throttle. You can make a big difference. So that was a tough thing for me last year to kind of try to pick up quickly. And, this year coming back, I feel like I just have a good idea of, how we need to unload and and felt like we just fired off better here in the first practice, a little bit closer with some more speed than we did in the past year.
Now we're going to open it up for questions. We'll go first to Jeff.
Jeff Gluck from jeffgluck.com. I'm just curious, so like during a run here, do you need lap times more than at a typical track so you can see if like a different line you're trying matters, where like at a mile and a half track where it's just on the bottom, it doesn't really, there's only so much you can do. Like, does that come into play more here?
Yeah, it's more important here, not only lap times, but the spotter keeping you updated with exactly where everybody's running, I would say is more important here. There's so many guys that move around throughout the runs and so many comers and goers here, I would say more than any other track on the schedule right now. And just having a spotter that's able to keep you updated with who's making lap time, who's moving forward, and giving you an opportunity to know soon enough to move around and try that out before they get there and pass you doing it. So it is important here. I would say that this track, I can't think of another track that has more options, especially you watch the restarts here and you see guys going 4 and 5 wide and running every lane. It makes a big difference. So this one's tough for sure. That was the toughest part for me last year, was just trying to figure out the right lane to run. And I think coming back, like I said a minute ago, coming back, it's been not easier, but it's been a little bit just more knowledge of kind of some of the fast lanes around here, especially in qualifying and in the race early.
Next, we'll go to Wolfgang.
For California, it's relatively cold or chilly, as you use your word in your language. Is this a problem with the tires, to put temperatures into the tires this cold weather?
It hasn't been here. It's actually been, it really has just been higher grip. I would say this year coming back right now as it is, it's been a lot higher grip. It's a lot cooler than it was last year, at least on qualifying day. So it's been a little bit easier in some ways, I guess, when you have more grip. At least for me, I think it's easier. But, we haven't had any problems like that. Getting temperature in them, it's been pretty quick to fire off here so far today.
Any further questions? Let's go up front to Bob.
Bob Parker, ESPN. Do you start looking at points already? Like you're kind of right there on what would be the cutoff, even though you still got 20 some odd races to go?
A little bit. I don't look at them a ton at this point, but I've tried to stay updated kind of with where we are each week, and we've had better finishes here to start off the year other than Daytona. The one thing we haven't really done a good job of is getting stage points at this point. We just haven't ran well early in the race, and we've been kind of fighting from behind and getting up and grabbing these top 10s towards the end of the days. So, I think we need to do a little bit better job on that side of things. But, yeah, we watch them some, like I said a minute ago. But, overall, I think we're going to wait a little bit farther into the year to really start to place a lot of focus on them.
Any additional questions? Right back here.
Matt Corson with the Racing Experts and ESPN Radio Albuquerque. Eric, you've only scored 1 stage point so far this year. Is that an area of focus that you're looking at this weekend?
Yeah, it is. I've been focused on it somewhat the last 2 weekends. We just haven't ran well enough early in these races to score those points. And last year we were kind of opposite. We weren't finishing well, but we were scoring lots of stage points. So it's a little bit reversed, but I think that's been a big thing that's held us back a little bit in the points here early on. So hopefully this weekend, we can run up towards the top 5 here early in the day and kind of keep that momentum throughout the day and earn some good stage points. So that's something that I have seen and have focused on, and it's definitely going to be, personally at least for me, it's been kind of a point of emphasis here for this weekend.
Gentleman right beside you, are you good? Yeah. Okay. Further questions, you guys? All right, thank you very much, Eric.
All right, thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are joined now by Eric Almirola, driver of the number 10 Smithfield Ford. Just to get started, so next weekend in Martinsville is your 250th Monster Energy Series start. What kind of knowledge are you bringing from those nearly 250 starts into the race this weekend?
None. I think just showing up with a new team every weekend, there's so much different about their cars than where I've been in the past. So I am literally showing up every weekend with a blank slate. I feel like a rookie driver again. I'm studying driver data and watching old race footage and doing all the things that I've always done. But now I have, a new team and teammates to lean on, and it's just so different than anything I've had in the past. And so, the learning curve is still there, and I feel like I'm learning every week and getting better every week. And Fridays are the most difficult part of the week, and just because we show up with no history together, no notebook, and every driver wants something a little different. So just trying to figure that out and figure out the differences between me and my teammates, so that Johnny, my crew chief, can hone in on something better to show up with, and for me to gain confidence in that, to unload off the truck at a place like this where you're running 215 miles an hour down into turn 1, and your first lap on the racetrack is a qualifying lap. It's just, it's really difficult. It's hard to explain, but it's really difficult. And that just comes with confidence and repetition. And so you asked me what I bring to the racetrack from the past, and the truth to that answer is not very much.
Now we're going to open it up for questions. First, we're going to start with Reed.
Reed Spencer with NASCAR Wire Service. You mentioned Fridays are the most difficult, but I think statistically, so far this year, you've improved more than 14 positions on average between qualifying and the end of the race. So how do you work on the Friday, and how do you get it better?
Qualify 14 spots better, so that the end result is a win. I don't know. Like I said, I think when we start showing up to these racetracks for the second time in the year, that's really when it's gonna, I think, pay off. Building this notebook that Johnny and I are working on, and so, we're already starting in these first few weeks. We're starting to put trends together where we end up by the end of the weekend, where I'm most comfortable with the car versus our teammates. And those trends, we're starting to build those into our unloading setups. And so that has helped. This weekend, obviously, we unloaded and we were 5th fastest right off the truck, and I think our last run put us up to 3rd. So that is helping make this Friday in particular go a lot smoother. But the last 2 weekends, it's tough. And then on top of that, NASCAR has shortened our practice on Fridays. We used to have 1 hour and 25 minutes. Now we have 50 minutes. So it took a half hour of practice away from us on Fridays, which is even more challenging for a new race team that's working together like ours.
Next, we're going to go to Wolfgang.
Eric, you said just earlier that the car or the team is totally different. Last year you drove for Paddy also with a Ford car. Where is your car now different? In which areas? Aero package, suspension, engine?
I can't tell you, Wolfgang. You'd publish it if I told you. It's everything. I mean, you just walk in the shop. It's everything. It's people. It's resources. It's wind tunnel time. It's engineering. It's the attention to detail to every part and piece on the race car. And in order to do that, you have to have manpower capable of doing that. You can't take a group of 30 people and make them focus on the thousands of parts and pieces that are on the race car, but you can take 400 people and do that. And so, increase manpower, increase resources, and engineering and technology, I think, pretty much sums it up.
Next, we're going to go to Jeff.
Jeff Gluck from jeffgluck.com. I think there were so many unknowns going into this year about how you were going to do, because not only you moving over, but nobody knew if Ford was going to be as competitive as they are.
Sure.
The 10 car hadn't had that pass. So
sure.
Based on everything going in, are you surprised by what's happening, or is this exactly what you expected?
A little of both. I mean, I think having expectations is one thing, but then meeting those expectations is something completely different. And so, I had high hopes and I had high expectations. But the fact that we've been able to go out and, in the first race of the year, come up a half a lap away from winning the Daytona 500, and then not let that beat our team down, for us to just kind of take the fighter mentality and to, bounce back in the next, several weeks, have just these solid runs, that has been the most gratifying. It is really, going into that year, I think every team in the garage, especially the top tier teams, they go in with a little unknown, but a lot of high expectations. And then when you get through the first few weeks of the year, you realize, whether or not you've met those expectations. And so for me, I feel like we've met and slightly exceeded our expectations. I think Johnny and I sat down at the beginning of the year, and we thought that running top 15 right out of the gate on a regular basis would be ideal. And so we've done better than that. And so that I'm proud of, and I'm pleased that that we've got off to such a great start. But at the same time, when you look at that company and you look at how fast their cars are across the board, all of my other 3 teammates show speed every week and are running up in the top 10. So if I wasn't, I would feel like we got a big problem. And so that makes me happy, and not only our team but in myself, to be able to get in that car and go get the job done, to be able to at least be competitive and on a level playing field with at least 2 of my other teammates. We've got one that's just incredible right now, and they've been doing a great job. But I think for us as a new team and a new group of guys all working together, I feel like we're off to a really good start.
Next, we're going to go to Jim Utter.
JimUtterMotorsport.com. Sort of a follow-up on that. Your teammates have been very complimentary of your performance so far this season. I just wondered if you could talk a little bit about what it's been like to have those particular 3 people to lean on, 2 of which have won races, 2 of which are former series champions, and how that's helped you make your adjustment.
It's been incredible, and I think the one thing that I've picked up the most on is to see how successful all of those guys have been in the past. I've raced with them on the racetrack, and I know how good each and every one of them is. But then to look at all their driver data and to see that they all do something a little different, and they all want something a little different out of their race car, it gives me confidence to just go over there to Stewart Haas Racing and just do what I do, right? And they've got fast race cars, and they've got really smart people, and they'll be able to conform and work around my style, and that I don't have to adapt and drive like anybody else. That's been the most eye-opening thing for me, is that all of those guys are always fast, and they always run up front, and they qualify up front, and they race up front. And they all do something different. They all require something different setup-wise. They all do something different on their driver data. And so that's given me a lot of confidence to just be me, to just go over there and drive the race car like I know how, give them feedback on what I want the race car to do different, and that they'll work around it. And that we have the group of people and smart people and really fast race cars to be able to adapt.
Next, we're going to go to Lee Spencer.
To kind of follow up on those first 2, Kevin said that it makes a tremendous difference overall for Stewart Haas Racing to have 4 racers under their roof now. And he believes once you do have that confidence, that comes after running in good race cars, that will just take it to the next level. Is that something that's going to take, that will probably grow on a weekly basis? Can you feel your confidence coming back? Because everybody at once was a track champion somewhere.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, every race car driver at this level has been really good at everything they did before they got here, or else they wouldn't have gotten here. So, I think, there was a day and time where I showed up to the racetrack in other series, and I was, had loads of confidence and knew that I was going to run good no matter what. And I have been beat down for sure racing at this level over the last several years, just not producing the results, and that's hard to swallow. I mean, when you grow up and you win races and win state championships and national championships and racing go-karts and racing late models, and you're successful and you work your way up through the ranks, and then you get all the way here to the elite, and 20th is a good day. That's hard to adjust to that mentality, and it does take a toll on your confidence. And so it is going to take a while to build my confidence back up and get to where I need to be to, like I said, unload at California Speedway and qualifying trim and run 215 miles an hour down into turn 1 and know that everything's going to be okay. My car's going to stick when I get there. That just takes time. And I think one thing that's helped the most is that I've showed up to a lot of these racetracks the beginning part of this year, which have historically not been good racetracks for me. I've historically not run well at Vegas. I've historically not run well at Atlanta. Phoenix has been an okay track for me, but to go to those racetracks and produce the results that we've has me really excited about the racetracks coming down the pipe that I feel like are racetracks that I've excelled at, even with the slightly underfunded team and not the best race cars. I've still been able to run well and produce results at those racetracks. So I'm excited to see what we can accomplish when we get to those kind of racetracks.
Any additional questions?
Yep.
He also says you're spending a lot of time at the race shop, and that's making other people show up, even Clint Boyer.
That's true. I think for me, it started right after we made the announcement that I was going to join Stewart-Haas Racing. I wanted to get over there. I felt like I had gotten a new lease on life and with my career, and so I was so excited to wake up in the morning and go to the shop and meet with the guys and learn the guys. I've said it a lot. There's 380 employees there, and so just going and learning people's faces and attaching a name to that face and understanding what role they have in the shop. So that way, if I have a question about something, I don't have to go to Johnny and say, hey, can you point me in the right direction? I need to go talk to somebody about my brake pedal in the race car. I can go right to the guy in the shop, or I can talk to the guys about suspension or my seat or whatever it is. And so for that reason, I was going to the shop a lot over the off season, just because I completely redid the entire way I sat in the car and everything from where I was for the last 6 years to now at Stewart-Haas Racing. So that made me stay at the shop a lot. But then on top of that, I've been wanting to be at the shop just to be a part of the team. I've said all along from the very beginning, I just want to contribute to this team. This is an incredible team. They're going to produce results with or without me. So I feel like my biggest role that I can play is to contribute. And whether that's contribute through running well or providing information on what changes we made in practice and what it did to my car, all of those things I feel like are going to make me, a little bit valuable to the team, because I do feel like the team, and they've proven it in the past, the team is a championship caliber team. Kevin Harvick and Clint Boyer and Kurt Busch are going to win races with or without me at Stewart-Haas Racing. So I feel like my biggest thing is to just be able to contribute. And ultimately, I want to contribute in the way of hanging banners up in the shop. I would love that too, but, we got to take baby steps before we can take off running. And for right now, the best way we can contribute is to, show up at the racetrack and run well and have data that's valuable to the other teammates.
One more question on this side, please.
Germán Sierra, La Prensa. Eric, how's your back feeling? This track seems to be very brutal towards the back straightaway. How's your back feeling after that first practice?
Surprisingly well, and that's funny you say that. The very first test that I did on the 7-post shaker rig after I broke my back to make sure that my back felt okay enough to get back in the race car was we ran the track map file from Auto Club Speedway, because it's the roughest racetrack that we go to. So 7 weeks after I broke my back, actually 6 weeks. 6 weeks after I broke my back, I went to Ford's 7-post shaker rig and sat in my race car on that shaker rig with the car running a mock lap around this racetrack. And I remember, thinking to myself, holy cow, is it really that rough? And then we showed up back here, and yes, the answer is yes. It really is that rough. But my back feels great. Thank you for asking. I feel like I am better than 100%. I feel like I'm more physically fit, in better shape than I was pre-accident, just because after my accident, I had to be really diligent with my rehab and my physical therapy just to be able to hurry up the process to be able to get back in the car. And I just kind of kept that mentality and kept that workout regimen going. And so I feel like right now I'm probably in the best shape of my life.
No further questions? All right. Thank you.
He's got one.
Oh,
you can
one
ask.
more.
Justin Schuler, Speedway Media. With the rain that's recently come through, how's the grip level on the track right now?
High. Really, really fast. It's crazy to crazy how gripped up these cars are and how fast we're going at this racetrack. Usually you think about coming to Auto Club Speedway and you think about slipping and sliding around, and we'll get there as the weekend progresses and as we switch over to race trim. But here in qualifying trim, it is insane how fast we're going. So, I think some of that is the fact that we showed up on a green racetrack. But regardless, the track was going to be green. We were the first cars on the track this morning. There was no other series that ran on the track before us. So I don't think it made much difference.
All right. Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
Thank you, guys.